Somewhere in a skip in the 1980s, your family threw away the smartest kitchen in Britain. Not the appliances, the objects, the jars, the tins, the drawers full of quiet genius that ran a whole household on pennies. Number 12 on this list caused so many house fires, the government practically begged us to bin it. And yet it made food nothing modern can match. And number 2 kept butter, cheese, and milk fresher than your 900-pound fridge does today. Hit that subscribe button, because half of these deserve a comeback. Let's count them down. Number 25. The whistling kettle. Before electric kettles clicked themselves off, every British hob carried a stainless steel or enamel kettle with a whistle cap that screamed when the water boiled. Your mum could be upstairs making beds, out in the yard, or halfway through the ironing, and that shriek would call her back to the kitchen. It cost about 15 shillings and lasted 30 years. The whistle meant the kettle never boiled dry, never wasted gas, and never needed watching. Today we replace a plastic electric kettle every 3 or 4 years when the element furs up. A 1960s kettle from Judge or Swan is still working right now in somebody's holiday cottage. We swapped a lifetime tool for a landfill habit, and we called it progress. Number 24. The toast rack. It looks like an ornament now, something you'd find at a car boot sale for 50 pence. But the toast rack solved a problem we still have every single morning. Stack hot toast flat on a plate, and the steam gets trapped underneath, turning your crisp toast into a soggy flannel in 90 seconds. Stand each slice upright in a rack, and the steam escapes from both sides, keeping every piece crunchy until the last person sits down. Silver-plated ones came out for Sunday breakfast. Chrome ones did weekday duty. A decent rack cost a few shillings and made breakfast feel like a hotel. Condensation is the enemy of texture, and your grandmother's table had the answer sitting right there between the marmalade and the teapot. We threw it out and went back to soggy toast. Number 23. The biscuit barrel. Every kitchen had one, usually ceramic or tin, sometimes with a wicker handle, sitting on the counter or the sideboard. Inside were rich tea, digestives, maybe custard creams if it had been a good week. A proper barrel with a snug lid kept biscuits crisp for weeks, because biscuits go soft by pulling moisture from the air, and a sealed barrel starved them of it. But the barrel did something else too. It rationed. Biscuits bought loose from the grocer went in, and when the barrel was empty, that was that until Friday. Children asked permission before lifting the lid. Now we tear through a multi-pack in an evening because the packet has no ceremony, no gatekeeper, and no bottom you can hear coming. Number 22. The hand mincer. Clamped to the edge of the kitchen table with a screw grip, the cast iron mincer turned Sunday's leftover roast into Monday's cottage pie, Tuesday's rissoles, and Wednesday's sandwich paste. Your mum fed chunks of cold beef or lamb through the hopper, turned the handle, and out came fresh mince with nothing added and nothing hidden. A spong mincer cost around £1 and outlived the woman who bought it. That machine meant total control over what went into your mince, 0 waste from the joint, and 3 extra meals from 1 piece of meat. Today we buy pre-packed mince without knowing the cut or the fat content, and scrape half a roast chicken into the bin on Sunday night. The mincer was food security bolted to your table, and we sold it at a jumble sale. Number 21. The flour sifter. That tin sifter with the squeeze trigger handle earned its place in every baking cupboard. Sifting did 3 jobs at once. It broke up lumps, blended the raising agent evenly through the flour, so no one bit into a bitter pocket of baking powder, and whipped air into the mix, which meant lighter sponges. In the early 60s it did a 4th job too, catching the odd weevil before it reached the cake, because flour came in paper bags from the grocer and sat in the pantry for months. The squeak of the trigger meant a Victoria sponge was on the way. Modern packet flour claims to be pre-sifted, but ask any serious baker and they will tell you the difference in crumb is real. We traded a 60-second ritual for slightly denser cakes forever. Number 20. The egg rack on the counter. Eggs in a kitchen in the 1960s never saw the inside of a fridge because most kitchens did not have one, and even those that did kept eggs in a wire or wooden rack on the side. Here is the part that will annoy you. Room temperature, eggs are better for almost everything. They whisk to greater volume for meringues and sponges. They do not crack when they hit boiling water, and they emulsify into mayonnaise without splitting. British eggs are not washed like American ones, so the natural protective coating stays intact and they keep perfectly well on the counter, which is why supermarkets still sell them off the shelf. Yet we get them home and shove them in the fridge door, the worst spot in the entire kitchen, where the temperature swings every time it opens. Your grandmother's egg rack was the correct answer all along. Number 19. The string and brown paper drawer. Every kitchen had one drawer that held salvation, lengths of string wound into balls, folded sheets of brown paper ironed flat, rubber bands, the odd cork, paper bags smoothed and stacked. Nothing in that drawer had been bought. Every piece had arrived wrapped around something else and been saved. Parcels got wrapped in it, sandwiches for the train, meat for the neighbor, seedlings tied to canes in the garden. It sounds quaint until you do the maths on what a household now spends yearly on wrapping, bags, foil, cling film and tape, nearly all of it binned after one use. That drawer was a circular economy sitting under the cutlery, decades before anyone invented the phrase. We didn't just throw away the drawer, we threw away the habit of keeping things. Number 18. Now here is where things get interesting. Because this next one wasn't an object in the kitchen. It practically was the kitchen, the kitchenette cabinet. If your grandmother had a hygiena, an easy work, or a maid saver, she owned the most intelligent piece of furniture Britain ever produced. One tall cupboard, about 4 feet wide, that contained an entire fitted kitchen before fitted kitchens existed. Behind the top doors sat tin-lined compartments for flour and sugar. Some had a built-in flour hopper with a sifter at the bottom, so you held your bowl underneath, pulled a lever, and sifted flour fell straight in. The middle section folded down into an enamel worktop, hygienic, wipe-clean, and at perfect pastry rolling height. Below that, deep drawers for utensils and a vented compartment for bread and cake. Racks on the door held spices and packets. Everything a cook needed lived within arm's reach of one standing position. Researchers had actually measured how far a housewife walked during a day's cooking, and these cabinets cut that distance in half. Then the fitted kitchen boom arrived, and the cabinets went to the tip in their tens of thousands. Today, restored hygiena cabinets sell for £600 to people who realize their gleaming fitted kitchen makes them walk further, bend lower, and lose things at the back of deep cupboards. The best kitchen design of the century, chopped up for firewood. Number 17. The Salter scales with brass weights. Balance scales with a proper pan on one side and a stack of gleaming brass weights on the other. 2 ounces, 4 ounces, half a pound, a pound. No batteries, no digital display that dies mid-recipe, no drift, no reset. You put the weight on, poured flour until the beam balanced, and you were done. Those brass weights were accurate the day they were made, and remain accurate today, 70 years later, which is why dealers still sell them as working equipment. A set cost around 30 shillings and served 3 generations. The average digital scale lasts 5 years before the sensor fails, lying to you a little more every year in between. Precision that never expires, thrown away for a screen. Number 16. The butter dish that lived on the table. Butter in a 1960s kitchen sat in a covered ceramic dish at room temperature, and it was always spreadable. No torn bread, no shaving cold butter off a rock-hard block, no 30 seconds in the microwave turning half of it to soup. A covered dish keeps butter perfectly fine for a week or more, and the French still do it with the beurre, a water-sealed butter crock that keeps it fresh even longer. The rise of the fridge convinced us butter was dangerous on the counter, but salted butter is remarkably stable, which is exactly why it was salted in the first place. So now we ruin fresh bread every morning fighting a cold block to solve a problem that never existed. Your grandmother's butter dish spread perfectly at 7 in the morning every single day of her life. Number 15. Pudding basins and muslin cloth. Stacked in every cupboard, in graded sizes, cream ceramic with a thick rim. The rim was the whole secret. It let you tie a pleated cloth of greaseproof and muslin over the top with string, making a steam-tight seal so the basin could sit in a pan of simmering water for 4 hours, turning suet, flour, and jam into a steamed pudding no oven can imitate. Steaming cooks at a gentle, moist, even heat, which is why a steamed sponge is tender in a way a baked one never quite manages. Jam roly-poly, spotted dick, treacle sponge, steak and kidney pudding, Christmas pudding, all of it came out of those basins. A basin cost a couple of shillings. When microwaves arrived promising a sponge pudding in 4 minutes, the basins went to the back of the cupboard and then to the charity shop. 4 minutes of convenience for the death of an entire category of British food. Number 14. The soda siphon. That chrome and glass bottle on the sideboard, charged with a small gas bulb, delivered fresh soda water at the pull of a trigger. Whiskey and soda for Dad, lemonade stretched for the children, sparkling water for guests, all from tap water and a 6-penny bulb. Do the sums against today. A family drinking fizzy water now hauls plastic bottles from the supermarket every week, paying perhaps £150 a year for water with bubbles in it. The siphon made the same thing for pennies, with one glass vessel that lasted decades. Then, in the 2000s, a Swedish company reinvented the exact same idea, called it a SodaStream lifestyle product, and charged us £100 for it. Your grandfather's sideboard had the technology 50 years earlier, looking considerably more stylish. Number 13. The tea caddy, the pot, and the strainer. Tea in the 1960s was loose leaf, kept in a tin caddy, measured with a caddy spoon, one for each person and one for the pot, brewed in a warmed teapot and poured through a strainer. Slower than dunking a bag, certainly. Better, without question. Loose leaf tea is larger, higher grade leaf that needs room to unfurl, while most tea bags hold dust and fannings, the sweepings of the tea trade, with the bag itself restricting the water flow. And here is the modern insult. Many tea bags are sealed with polypropylene, so we've been quietly steeping plastic in boiling water for years. The tea bag conquered Britain in the 70s on pure convenience, and the nation that taught the world to drink tea forgot how to make it properly. Number 12. The chip pan. Right, this is the controversial one, so let's be honest about both sides. The heavy pan of solidified beef dripping with a wire basket sitting permanently on the hob was genuinely dangerous. Chip pan fires were once responsible for around a fifth of all house fires in Britain, and the fire brigade spent decades running campaigns to get rid of them, with good reason. If you left it unattended, it could take the house down. But here is what we lost when we binned them. Chips fried in beef dripping are simply better than anything an air fryer or oven chip can produce. And it isn't nostalgia, it's chemistry. Dripping fries hotter and drier than vegetable oil, staying stable at temperature instead of breaking down, giving a shattering crust and a beefy depth that made British chips famous in the first place. The best chip shops in Yorkshire never stopped using dripping, and food critics make pilgrimages to them. Meanwhile, the vegetable oils we switched to for our health included hydrogenated fats that turned out to be far worse. The pan deserved to go. The dripping didn't. Twice-cooked chips in beef fat, made safely in a modern thermostat fryer, would give you back the greatest thing the British kitchen ever produced. Number 11. The ceiling pulley era. Look up in a 1960s kitchen and you would see wooden slats on a rope and pulley, hoisted high above the range, draped with washing. It was genius hiding in plain sight. Warm air rises, so the space near the kitchen ceiling was the warmest, driest spot in the entire house, heating that was already paid for, doing a second job for free. Clothes dried overnight without a penny of extra cost, out of the way, up where nobody bumped into them. Then came the tumble dryer, one of the hungriest appliances in the modern home, costing over £1 per cycle at today's energy prices, shrinking your jumpers as a bonus. During the recent energy crisis, sales of ceiling eras quietly exploded, and Victorian-style pulley maids now sell for over £100. We are buying back, at a premium, the exact thing our families unscrewed from the ceiling and burned. Number 10. The Mason Cash Mixing Bowl. The cane-colored earthenware bowl with the molded pattern around the outside was in virtually every kitchen in Britain, and every detail of it was engineering. The pattern was not decoration, it was grip, so floury hands could hold the bowl steady while beating. The heavy earthenware kept pastry ingredients cool, and the wide, shallow shape was designed for the angle of a beating arm. Then came lightweight plastic and steel bowls that skid across the worktop, warm up in your hands and scratch. Ask a serious baker today what they mix in, and there is a decent chance it is a Mason Cash, because the company still makes them, and sales keep climbing as people rediscover what their grandmothers never doubted. Some things were finished the first time. Number 9. The carving set. A bone-handled carving knife, a long steel, and a fork with a guard, kept in a velvet-lined box and brought out on Sundays. Before every roast, Dad would sweep the blade along the steel, a sound every British child of the era can still hear, and then carve the joint at the table. Thin, even slices, everyone served in turn. Two things vanished with that box. The first is the skill. A good carver could feed 8 from what a hacker feeds 5, and thin slices against the grain stayed juicier. The second is the ceremony. The roast arrived whole, was carved in front of the family, and everyone waited. Now the meat arrives pre-sliced in a packet, and something that made Sunday feel like Sunday quietly died. Sharp knives and a reason to sit down together, both gone in one box. Number 8. The meat safe. Before the fridge conquered Britain, and in 1960 barely half of British homes had one, the meat safe kept food fresh with nothing but intelligence. A small cupboard with fine mesh panels instead of solid doors, kept in the coolest spot, the pantry or a north-facing wall, sometimes mounted outside. The mesh let cool air flow freely across the food while keeping every fly out. Meat, cheese, and leftovers kept for days. Cheese, in fact, kept better in a meat safe than it does in your fridge, because cheese wrapped in plastic at 4 degrees sweats, hardens and loses its flavor, which is why cheesemongers today sell ventilated cheese storage boxes that are, when you look closely, tiny meat safes at £40 each. The fridge was a genuine revolution, no argument. But it made us forget that some foods don't want to be refrigerated at all, and the safe knew the difference. Number 7. The preserving pan and the Kilner jars. Every summer, the wide, heavy pan came out, and the kitchen filled with the smell of boiling fruit. Strawberries in June, blackberries from the hedgerows in September, marrows and onions for chutney in October, Seville oranges for marmalade in January. Glut fruit that cost pennies, or nothing at all, was turned into a shelf of jars that lasted the year. The pan's shape did real work, wide to speed evaporation, heavy to stop catching, with a lip for pouring. And the economics were devastating. A shelf of homemade jam cost a fraction of shop prices and contained fruit and sugar, nothing else. Look at a supermarket jar today and you'll find glucose syrup, citric acid, and about half the fruit content of your nan's recipe. Preserving wasn't a hobby in the 1960s, it was the household's insurance policy against winter. We replaced it with a standing order at Tesco. Number 6. The enamel bread bin. Cream enamel, green or blue lettering spelling. Bread, a lid that clanged, and inside it, bread behaved properly. Here is the science your grandmother never needed explaining. Bread goes stale through a process called starch retrogradation, and that process runs fastest at fridge temperature, which means the modern habit of refrigerating bread makes it stale up to 6 times quicker. Room temperature in a ventilated bin is exactly what bread wants. Crust kept dry, crumb kept soft, for 4 or 5 days easily with a proper loaf. Meanwhile, plastic bags trap moisture against the crust and invite mold. The bin also imposed a rhythm. A loaf from the baker every few days, eaten fresh, ends turned into bread and butter pudding. Today, Britain throws away almost 1 million loaves of bread every single day, the most wasted food in the country. The bread bin wasn't storage, it was a system, and the system worked. Number 5. The cast iron frying pan that never got washed. This one horrifies modern sensibilities, so stay with me. The big black pan lived on the hob, and after cooking it was wiped out with paper or a cloth, maybe rinsed with hot water, never scrubbed with soap, and rubbed with a film of fat. Sacrilege? No. Chemistry. Every use built up layers of polymerized fat. A hard, slick, natural coating called seasoning that made the pan more non-stick every year of its life. A 50-year-old family pan-fried an egg better than anything you could buy. Then, in the 1960s, Teflon arrived promising non-stick from day one, and the black pans went to the scrap man. In exchange, we got coated pans that scratch, degrade, and need replacing every couple of years, made with a family of chemicals now being restricted around the world. And here is the punchline. Cast iron pans are now the darlings of professional kitchens, selling for over £100 to people relearning the seasoning ritual their grandmothers did without thinking. The pan we threw away improved with age. The pan we bought was designed to die. Number 4. Doorstep milk in glass bottles. Every morning before 6, the electric hum of the float, the chink of glass, and a pint on the step with cream risen thick at the top, the prize children fought over for their porridge. The bottle was washed, put back out, and refilled around 25 times. A deposit return loop of near perfection running decades before anyone worried about plastic. The milk was local, fresh that morning, and the milkman was a daily thread through the street, the man who noticed when old Mrs. Davies hadn't taken her pint in. In 1975, 9 in 10 British households had doorstep delivery. Supermarket plastic 4-pinters undercut it by pence, and the network collapsed. Now we buy milk in single-use plastic and pay startups to reinvent doorstep glass delivery as a premium eco-service. It was already here. It came with the sunrise, and it knew your name. Number 3. The kitchen wireless. On a shelf above the worktop, or on the windowsill between the geraniums, sat the radio, and it was on from breakfast to tea time. Housewives' choice in the morning, workers' playtime at dinner time, Mrs. Dale's diary in the afternoon, the shipping forecast marking the evening. The wireless made the kitchen the most alive room in the house. Your mum peeled potatoes to music, the whole street effectively listened together, and children absorbed the news of the world with their toast. It asked nothing of you, No scrolling, no notifications, no screen pulling your eyes from the pan. Just company. Today we prop phones against fruit bowls and watch videos while the sauce burns, more connected than ever and somehow more alone at the stove. The wireless kept your hands free and your head present. That's not old technology. That's better technology. Number 2. The larder with the cold slab. This is the one that should make you genuinely angry. Nearly every house built before the 1960s had a larder, a small pantry on the north wall with an air brick to the outside, slate or ventilated shelves, and the crown jewel, a thick slab of marble or slate that stayed cold all year round without using a single watt of electricity. Cheese kept perfectly and tasted better for never being plastic wrapped in a fridge. Butter stayed firm but spreadable. Vegetables lasted for weeks in the dark, cool air. Milk, jams, cooked meats under mesh covers, all of it organized, visible, and fresh. The larder was passive refrigeration, free, silent, and permanent. Then fridges arrived, builders wanted the floor space, and larders were ripped out or turned into cupboards for the Hoover. Here is the bitter ending. The pantry is now one of the most requested features in new British homes. Developers charge thousands extra for one, because it turns out a fridge is brilliant at 4 degrees and useless at the cool, dark, 10-degree conditions half our food actually prefers. We demolished free cold storage in almost every house in Britain, then plugged in a box to do the job worse. And number 1, the Formica kitchen table. Not an appliance, not a gadget. A table, with tubular steel legs and a wipe-clean top in red gingham or pale blue. And it was the beating heart of the entire house. Every meal was eaten at it, together, 3 times a day. But the meals were the least of it. Pastry was rolled on it, homework was done on it, the accounts were counted out on it in piles of coins on a Friday night. Beans were shelled, arguments were settled, neighbors drank tea at it, and children learned to talk, really talk, across it. In the 1960s, the average British family ate together at that table every day. Today, surveys suggest most families manage a proper shared meal around a table only a couple of times a week. If that, with plates balanced on knees in front of the television and everyone on a different screen. When open-plan living arrived and the breakfast bar took over, we didn't just throw away a piece of furniture. We threw away the one object that guaranteed the family sat facing each other daily. Everything else on this list saved money or made better food. The table made the family, and that is why it's number 1. So here's my challenge. Pick one thing off this list and bring it back this week. A butter dish on the counter, eggs out of the fridge, loose leaf tea in a proper pot, or go big and hunt down a Mason cash bowl at a car boot sale. Then tell me in the comments if your grandmother was right, because I think you already know she was. Tell me which one your family kept and which one you still miss. If this brought back your nan's kitchen for a few minutes, hit subscribe, because next week we're opening a door most of you haven't stepped through in 50 years. See you then.